Out there is Davis Bay, which is part of the Salish Sea, which is all along the Sunshine Coast here in British Columbia. If you're not familiar with the Sunshine Coast, what we're talking about is one of the most tourist-friendly places in the whole province. You have to take the ferry to get here from Horseshoe Bay. That takes you over to Langdale and then to the little town of Gibsons. Now Gibsons, if you're a Canadian, you'll remember from the Beachcombers, Davis Bay, Salish Sea, Sunshine Coast. Over there is Sechelt. And then as you roll up the highway, you come across Half Moon Bay and all sorts of other places, Secret Cove, some very cool places to see, to visit, to stay. If you're looking for a vacation holiday, this is a cool place. And what are we driving? Well, it's the perfect car for a little road trip like this. This is the Mazda MX-5. You might remember it as the Mazda Miata if you're my vintage. You've got all this gray hair and losing more of it every year. Look, this is one of the coolest sports cars you can drive for a whole bunch of reasons, not the least of which is it's relatively affordable versus other products in the marketplace like it. And on top of that, because so many automakers are just getting out of the roadster business entirely, it's incredibly unique. I mean, Audi has now dropped the TT, which was one of the coolest roadsters out there in the world. So we're getting down to this little handful of sports cars for a road trip like this along the Sunshine Coast. Now in this video, I'm trying my best to do three things. First, I want to give you a tour of British Columbia's Sunshine Coast, which is just a 40-minute ferry ride from Vancouver. It's a $77 round trip from the Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal just northwest of downtown Vancouver. The Sunshine Coast is a gem, an absolute gem. Lots more on that in a moment. Second, I want to touch on my very favorite type of automobile, the Roadster. Sadly, Roadsters are disappearing from dealer showrooms, and this is just terrible. You will never enjoy driving more than what you experience with your butt planted low in an open-top two-seater. More on that later, too. Finally, I want to share with you what it's like to drive the latest version of the world's most successful roadster ever, Mazda's MX-5, a little ripper more affectionately known as the Miata. I spent 2 days touring the Sunshine Coast in this, the RF version. Fantastic fun, believe me. So to the Sunshine Coast. To get there, you need to hop on one of these, a BC ferry. We lined up in Horseshoe Bay without a reservation, something I would highly recommend for an extra $16, but we made it on board anyway without much delay. The ride from Horseshoe Bay to Langdale takes you past Bowen Island, a sort of commuter island for many who work in Vancouver, then past Keats Island, and finally to the terminal in Langdale. From there, it's a short drive to the coastal town of Gibsons. Gibsons! Now, where have you heard that name before? Gibsons, of course, was the setting for one of the most successful homegrown shows in Canadian television history. The Beachcombers was kind of a comedy drama that ran from 1972 to 1990. It told the story of small-town British Columbia through the eyes and adventures of Greek-Canadian Nick Adonitis, played by the late Bruno Gerussi. Nick and his partner Jesse, played by actor Pat John, ran the logging tug Persephone, scooping up logs that had broken away from booms and barges. What made the show especially charming was the cast of characters who called Gibsons home. From Gibsons, you hop on Coastal Highway 101 heading northwest to Roberts Creek, where you need to catch another ferry to carry on to the rest of the Sunshine Coast. The Sunshine Coast Highway, that 101, is all twisty, two-lane blacktop. We stopped in Sechelt to lunch by the dock where we watched the seaplanes take off and land among the many other boats of all shapes and sizes. The entire run up the Coastal Highway is 177 kilometers, and the only way to get there is by boat, to get to the highway. This is the traditional territory of the Squamish, Salish, Schliemann, and Clahous First Nations. It's an area of rugged mountains, beautiful, often sheltered inlets, charming small towns, and all the adventures you can imagine, from boating to fishing to mountain biking, golfing, and of course, touring in a roadster. And now a little history. The Sunshine Coast name dates back to the early 20th century when in 1914, Harry Roberts painted the name the Sunshine Belt on the side of the freight house on the first wharf built in Roberts Creek. Over the years, the area grew into a summer resort destination, in part because the weather is milder and drier than Vancouver's. The Sunshine Coast is sheltered from the open Pacific, which means warm, dry summers and damp but doable winters. Today, some 50,000 people call the Sunshine Coast home. They share the coast with plenty of wildlife, black bears and cougars, coyotes and eagles, just to name a few. And if you can swing it, drive this highway with the top down in a roadster or a sports car. But hurry, automakers around the world are phasing out roadsters. Yes, the era of the sports car, or at least the affordable sports car with an open top, is ending. Income inequality is killing everyday sports cars for the masses and even the reasonably well-heeled. In the last little while, for instance, Alfa Romeo has killed the 4C, Fiat the 124 Spider, a rebadged MX-5, by the way, that's what the 124 Spider is, and Mercedes has even killed the SLC SLK along with the end of the gasoline Audi TT in favor of some sort of future EV, electric vehicle. Mazda, though, soldiers on with the MX-5, or as I still refer to it, the Miata. Long nose, short rear deck. This low-to-the-ground, front mid-engine design is light, sure-footed, and responsive to driver inputs like pretty much nothing else in my experience. As a result of its genius and pure emotional appeal, the MX-5, the Miata, has become history's best-selling two-seat sports car. I love this car, have loved every generation of it, dating all the way back to the summer of '89 when I first got my hands on a little red one. If you have not driven a Miata, any Miata from any generation, there is a hole in your life. The latest version I took to the coast was the absolute top-of-the-range RFGT version, with its power, fold-down hardtop, and every fancy feature available. From 17-inch gunmetal alloy wheels to adaptive front lighting, body-colored power side mirrors, 7-inch color touchscreen with Mazda Connect, Bose premium audio with 9 speakers, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 2 USB ports, push-button start, and more. Even quite a reasonable trunk. Enough at least for a weekend trip to the coast. Despite all the fancy stuff, this car is true to the basics of all roadsters, though at 181 horsepower, it might be just a little too muscular, a little too powerful. The snug, bum inches from the ground seating is perfect. The tight responses, the short throw shifter, a 6-speed manual gearbox by the way, and the taste and smell of open air driving. My tester, well, this is a very modern car. It's sporty and motivated by a fuel-efficient Sky-Activ direct injection 4-banger, which, alas, wants premium fuel. Redline, 7,600 RPM. There is a super intuitive infotainment interface, and you can easily sync your smartphone, tune in the satellite stations, and be assured that a full suite of safety features will help save you if you get in over your head in a corner. ABS, stability control, various warnings and protections, and the like. The Miata does not tempt your baser instinct so much as titillate your enthusiasms. The Miata encourages a kind of oneness that goes away when a car has too much horsepower and not enough soul. We spent 2 days gently carving the many twists and turns of the Sunshine Coast. The front engine, tucked in there in the long nose, and rear drive Miata settles into a corner best if you're just a tiny bit aggressive, but avoid being brutal. Dab the disc brakes ever so carefully to tuck the nose. Let the car find its balance, then smoothly accelerate out again and again with rhythm and care. That's how you can mine the best from the fully independent suspension, the 17-inch alloy wheels, the rack and pinion steering that responds precisely to your smallest inputs. Honestly, you don't drive this Miata, you dance with it. I encourage you to find this out for yourself along British Columbia's Sunshine Coast. Of course, in the last several decades, it's evolved, it's changed, and now all of a sudden we have... Thanks.